Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at a puppet portal deck. Obviously puppets aren't that great at the moment. Of course the new expansion should hopefully bring in some really nice stuff. I'm really hoping it can become quite a solid thing, but at the moment this is what puppets kind of look like, I guess. Like, this is one variation of puppets. This one's got a few different WinCon ideas, so you can kind of just, you know, rush them out with stuff with the early game artifact things. So that's why you are running a couple, so it's kind of a hybrid deck, I would say. And overall you've got things like Swordsman, Zeus and Vengeful Puppeteer, and even things like Master Puppet that are actually solid and really good. This deck was absolutely awful for me on ladder. The couple of games I'm going to show you guys were okay, but overall the game is just really awkward to use this in. So if you're looking for something fun and cheap and really just easy to do, I guess, sure, give it a go. If you don't have to craft anything and you just want to try something out, sure. Otherwise, I highly recommend against this kind of deck. Honestly, puppets just aren't there. If they had that extra support, if they had some good gold cards, if they had some good legendaries, I think they could be a really solid option, but as things currently stand, I don't recommend it. So our first game up here is against another Portal player. Portal, for some reason, was extremely common once I started playing this puppet list.
I bring unto you
Like, a lot more common than I would have expected it to be. We start off with not a great hand. Master Puppet is good, but not that good. Hamlin is kind of a great card, especially when you can combo it with either low-cost artifacts or puppets. Either way, it's quite good. We don't end up with any kind of turn 1 play, which is pretty normal. I mean, usually you're focusing on like turn 2 with Staircase, because you don't actually run any 1-drops. So Staircase on 2 is pretty decent, considering puppets all get destroyed and not banished, unlike ghosts, so you can always get the Staircase value fairly quickly overall, even without an enhance. So I like playing it on 2, and we do manage to get our puppet room off, which is always good, although we are risking taking some damage. Hopefully we can counterbalance that with Toy Soldier nicely. And a treasure map for Grave Desecration. That's a really good card for Portal to get out of treasure map. I think that's probably one of the better ones you're aiming for as a Portal player. And of course, we've got to look for the best route we can go here, and I think this is it. I mean, we can use a couple of puppets to clear this board out, while at the same time dealing with everything there. Of course, the City of Nightmares and Despair. Not a very easy way to get rid of these. And at the same time we're proccing our Staircase really nicely, so should be live very, very soon to get that little Staircase going and hopefully get some really good drops from it. Okay, so we see the Acceleradium come down along with Analyzing. So it looks like Analyzing is going to be their trade option, which isn't bad, because it does mean Staircase does proc at the end of next turn.
You might say I'm a genius.
So it should go off, which means we should get our draw fairly soon. And Substitution actually works really well for getting rid of things, so why not? And we can start getting even more puppets, since we are going to at least use a couple here to get rid of this 2-2. And thanks to them not having enough shadows or necromancy or whatever you want to call it, they aren't going to be able to use Grave Desecration again. Not this turn anyway. So we see some artifacts get dropped in. They're playing about as big a meme as I'm currently playing, so that's pretty entertaining at least. And we do discard 1 card. 2 cards, sorry. Kind of disappointing. At least we can take advantage of this masked puppet here and get some really good puppet value going. This is one of the few ways you can start building a really hard and difficult board. So a 5-5 with the fact we got to remove something is always nice. Even if they do get their own zombie here. Forest of Dreams gets dropped. So it looks like they're going to block us off.
Begin.
Probably go face with that zombie if I'm correct. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the decision they go for. Of course, Puppeteer Strings is going to be great. Especially when comboed with these puppets that we've got. We can remove at least the 4-2, which is decent. And sorry, we can actually remove all 3 once you add the evolve in. So removing both of these using 3 puppets is fairly good, which means we get the 3 buff on it. And we end up with a really, really strong follower.
Now the fight begins.
Nice 8-8 unevolved. If only it was activatable. But unfortunately the forest isn't going to let me do that. Dimension cut. Not surprising, I mean they want to try and defend as much as they can. And they pretty much gave me free swing here just to summon a couple of things out and build our board up. They only have a couple of cards left in their hand and seem to be pretty heavily reliant on the Grave Desecration to really pull them into this game. That's why I did take the evolve. I wanted to put a good amount of pressure and not give them a good trade here.
Sleep.
So, Storm on the zombie, where's it going to? Well, pretty much Storm. I mean, it skips its sleeping phase due to the fact that Desecration activates at the end of my turn.
Neither human nor beast.
Zephyr Synthetic Beast, pretty great trade. I can't really fault that move at all. But at least in this case, they are out of evolves, meaning they need to have back-to-back Zephyra to really win this. Or a Radiant Artifact, which I just don't see happening right now. And there is the Grave Desecration going off.
You might say, I'm a genius.
So, Icarus, not really doing much with that. And another Dimension Cut. And a Puppet. Alright, we're pretty safe on that then. All we need to do now is pretty much play Zeus and we win the game.
I am the Father, the
We
God
can go
of
face
all.
for 10 and leave them on 5. And we can actually use a couple of puppets here to easily remove one of these, which won't trigger the Grave Desecration, which is great because it means they are stuck with just a 2-2 on board.
Yo, totally burn.
So it means their only option would be to top deck a Banish, basically, at that point. Double Radiance, though. Back-to-back Radiant Artifacts. At least it did use up all their play points, but it's hard to believe that's what happened. So it worked out pretty well for us. Next up is Forest. Forest always presents an interesting challenge for any kind of portal deck, and this one isn't really any kind of exception.
Fire.
Time for me to prove myself.
So we start off again with not so great hand. Master Puppet is really awkward when you get it in your opener, especially when you have stuff like Puppet Room and Toy Soldier next to it. It's not great to go with those. You really want to hold on and try and get at least a 2-drop, which Staircase works pretty well for. Opponent goes for the Evelicia, the Fallen. I'm guessing that's how we're going with that. And not really much else, so Staircase it is, and no real need to worry. Pure-Hearted Singer, again, not a real threat, nothing I can really do much about. We can at least set up our Puppet Room, which is going to be nice, being able to guarantee a puppet this turn, and at the same time guarantee one every turn for the next 3 is super solid. Plus, I mean, it's practically free removal at that point. We also have Puppet Strings for turn 4 if we need to deal with a lot of small stuff. Doesn't look like that's going to really do much though, but probably still going to be the play to go down unless we use Substitution, which I guess is better because we do get to remove that without triggering its effect, so I mean, why not take that route? And we get another puppet. While at the same time triggering our Staircase pretty quickly. Finally we see Actress. Looks like they are definitely playing a neutral forest, which I could have really guessed right at the beginning of this match.
Like a bird, I say.
So they're really trying to buff this Actress up. But Cat Cannoneer isn't really going to let that happen, especially when I've got Icarus to back that thing up.
You might might say. I'm a genius.
So I do actually make a really good play here. I was originally thinking just throw the Icarus, throw the cat cannon, leave the board empty, keep my puppet. I decided to instead go a different direction and use the Icarus to trade into the 3-3, keeping the Icarus alive and trading the puppet in, which I thought was pretty good at the time. I mean, we get to get rid of the puppet, which is good considering that staircase is being triggered. And at the same time, we get our Icarus off, which works out really well. So we're only really going to burn one card at this point. Another actress and another Lyriel, this time with a happy pig. But the Lyriel gets the evolve, so they can at least ping off this 4-1.
Wings are killing me. Yo, it totally burns.
So at this point we do burn a card. It's only an ancient artifact, it's not too bad. And I do end up burning a puppet as well. I didn't really think that through. If I had have thought about it, I would have actually played my other puppet out first. So I could have taken advantage of double puppets. Not that it makes a huge difference here, it just means I would have had one extra puppet available to my hand.
Finally a break.
So our opponent's board has basically been limited to 0. They only have 2 cards in hand. They don't really seem to have any way to draw much in this deck at the moment. The only real risk is a B&B being dropped. That would be a nightmare.
Of hopes and dreams.
Everything else would not be
You
too
might
bad
say
at all.
I'm a genius.
And we can actually start stacking our own board up here, just to present a kind of threat to them.
Why? How
So
come?
there's Fallen, instant trade with a puppet, that's going to be good. So the Airbound Barrage return is a good strategy to go with.
It totally burns.
But I get to set up Swordsman. I don't usually get to play him much, but being able to play him here and get 8 damage this turn is fairly solid.
Welcome to the city of nightmares.
Shine blue.
So we've actually got a pretty solid board here. No doubt we'll see a trade.
This ends here.
I mean, you of course are going to remove that 6/6. That's a guaranteed option.
Rest for a while.
And my Cat Cannoneer is just a natural hit into that, so that's one way I could go about it. That or actually just using these puppets here are probably better, because I do get to then keep the Cat Cannoneer. So I think making the puppet trade was much better than actually throwing the cat
Ready to
into it.
blast 'em, yeah?
Especially since a 3-2 is better than a 2-1 that was eventually going to kill itself.
This garden blossoms for eternity.
But now we can actually go wide. Especially with the staircase triggering next turn, meaning we are going to free up a board space.
The god of all.
Fortunately they went for Zeus, which sucks pretty hard considering I wanted to go with my own Zeus that turn, and with them playing Zeus I really wasn't able to do that. So instead I decided to just kind of play this,
I lost.
and luckily they ended up conceding anyway. I mean, they were going to be left on 1, so I mean that was probably the only good option they had. So while this deck isn't great, I do hope you were at least entertained by it, and I apologize for that. I just threw the screen out of whack. I deeply apologize for that, but hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. I mean, it was pretty fun deck to at least mess around with. It's interesting to see puppets go off, and I do love a lot of the cards there, so hopefully you did enjoy it. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.